Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here in Guadeloupe today at Pointe-à-Pitre Airport, and we're going to do a little test here of an update to the Piper Warrior. And there's also been an update to the AMD FSR 3.1 file that is used for frame generation in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So I'm kind of curious to see what the changes are, because since I started using FSR 3 frame gen in Flight Sim 24, there haven't been any updates to the file, so I don't know, what might change with it. So I'm definitely curious to see. So we'll come here and we'll get things going. I don't know why my GPS didn't stay the way it was for the start of the flight, but well, probably because the plane got updated. And once again, please excuse my voice. I've got a bit of a cough here. So what we'll do is we'll go through a lot of what we go through on a regular flight. We'll go fuel selector on the lowest tank, which is fuel tanks are balanced because we're just starting out. So we'll go rotating beacon on, mixture rich, carb heat is cold, master and battery switches on, fuel pump on. We would prime the aircraft, but we can't. The primer doesn't, well, it doesn't look like it works physically, but you can hear it actually. It seems like it's priming, so we'll see. We'll crack the throttle, take a look outside, make sure there's nobody outside to kill or maim, and we will engage the starter. There's a good start. Mags back to both. Throttle to 1200 RPM. We'll check our oil pressure. Oil pressure is good. Fuel pressure is good. Turn the fuel pump off. Slight drop in fuel pressure, but fuel pressure is looking good. Go avionics master on, and this is, well, look. Ha! It seems like they've fixed that issue, so now you can turn the avionics on without turning the lights up. That's pretty cool. So let's take a quick look, make sure the databases are current, and they are. And let's check. You can see the lateral CDI should be half left, which it is. The vertical CDI should be half up, which it is. So that's correct. So we'll go to that. It's doing the TAWS test, terrain avoidance.
TAWS system test okay.
Alright, so that's good. Yes, I do have a license. So that's all looking good. Let's lean the mixtures for taxi. And I think we're pretty much good to go. I'm now having strobe lights on. Toes on the brakes here. Release the parking brake. We are in the GA area here in Pointe-à-Pitre. Check the brakes as soon as we get going. Brakes are looking good. So I've been trying to do a flight down here for a couple days now in this airplane, but the weather has been, shall we say, uncooperative. So this time I just turned the weather down, and got a nice beautiful day here in Guadeloupe. That's the main terminal across the way. We've got 1164 meters, so that's about what, 3,500 feet, 4,000 feet, which is good enough for us. So let's set the parking brake. We're going to do a flight control check and a run up. So I'm going to go, well, I would have to move it. I have to reset this here for us. So let's go full left aileron. That is up. That is down. We'll go full right. That is up. That is down. Let's check our elevator. Full back, full forward. That is correct. Come down here. We'll check our flaps. Flaps are all the way up on that side. They're all the way up on this side. All the way, excuse me, all the way down on that side, all the way down on this side, all the way up on this side. all the way up on this side. So flight controls are free and correct. Now we'll just, knees and nuts, we'll move through the full range of the controls here. Just make sure they're moving freely. So our flight controls are free and correct. I'm going to move this again just so we can see the instrumentation. Fuel mixture full rich. Fuel pump on. Toes are on the brakes. Parking brake is set. We'll come up to 2,000 RPM. Alright, we'll check the left mag. Good drop, about 50. Come back to both. Check the right mag. Good drop, and they're within 50 RPM of one another. So now let's check the carb heat. It's a slight drop there, that's good. Carb heat off. Turn the fuel pump off. Fuel pressure is okay. 5 on the gyro. Let's check the annunciators. I can't get it to test. There we go. There, that's good. Alright, so now we'll bring it back to idle, or back to 1200 rather. Now we'll do a ground idle check, which is exactly that. You just pull the power to idle. You're listening for a smooth running engine. That's all we're worried about right now. And that sounds good to me. We'll come back up. I think I actually might leave this yoke out of the way here, just because you do want to be able to see the RPM. You do want to be able to see your gauges when you're flying, you know. And these panel layouts for these older, any older aircraft can be pretty weird. I actually had one, a real Cherokee, that had the vertical speed indicator right here, and it was IFR certified. So this instrument was down over here. As a matter of fact, I believe the RPM gauge on that plane was over here somewhere. It might have been over here. So it's really kind of odd, to say the least. But what we're gonna do today, we'll go on over to an airport over that way. So we'll come in ready to go. Let's turn the landing light on. Alright, everything's good to go. Let's check our trim. A little bit aft of neutral for the trim. We'll check the aileron trim. The rudder trim, rather. Rudder trim can kill you, believe it or not. You don't check it. I just read an accident report of a guy who died, well, and killed 4 people because he didn't check his rudder trim, and his rudder trim was full left for takeoff, which makes no sense. Final approach course looks clear. Runway looks clear in that direction. Runway looks clear in that direction. Winds are out of the west at about, or excuse me, out of the east at about 10 knots. So taking off in that direction. Alright, landing light is on. Mixture is rich. Carb heat is cold. Primers in and locked. Seatbelts are secure. Pre-landing check, pre-departure checklist is complete, and I didn't do my pre-departure checklist, so we'll run through that again real quick. So any power problems on the ground, I'm going to pull the power to idle and come to a stop using the brakes. I don't care if I go off the end of the runway. Below 500 feet AGL, we're looking straight ahead, 30 degrees either side of the nose of the airplane. Getting a little bit of stuttering right here. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I updated the new drivers today too. We'll get to that later. And then anything above 600 feet AGL, or anything above 600 feet on the altimeter, I'm going to be making a left-hand turn to come back around to try to get back to any hard surface I can find, taxiway, runway, anything. So good to go. Heading indicator checks with the runway number. We'll take the power in here. Takeoff power is set. Engine instruments are in the green. See, with the yoke there, you can't see the engine instruments. It's just not, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I gotta be able to see that stuff. So, alright, airspeed's alive. There's 70 knots, and we'll just ease it back. And off we go. beautiful day here in Guadeloupe. And we'll just keep the climb going here. Bring in a little bit of trim. Busy day. We'll come up to about 1,500 feet. $700 here. Alright, they're coming through 1,000 feet. We will turn the fuel pump off. We'll check our fuel pressure. Fuel pressure is looking good. And just want to check here and see what the identifier is for this airport. It is TFFC is what I'm looking for. So once we get leveled off, gosh, it is beautiful. Come up to 1,500. We're getting there. 50 feet below our cruise altitude. Pull the power back until we hear a change in engine sound. Nose the airplane over to level flight. And apply a gross trim application, which is just a nice big roll of the trim wheel, just to give you an approximate trim setting. And then we'll worry about fine-tuning that here as we go. And we'll look down and look at that, almost exactly what we were looking for, just 2,500. All right, so now what I want to do is go direct TFFC. We'll activate that, heading a 108. We picked up a bit of RPM because this is a fixed pitch propeller airplane, and as you trim down, your RPMs are going to increase. It's just the way the airplane works. So we'll just bring the power back a little bit, and we'll trim the nose down and get back down to the altitude we were intending to cruise at. So alright, so now I'm going to come fuel pump on, bring the fuel valve to the left. I mentioned in an earlier video, the airplane is very, very sensitive to fuel imbalances. It kind of always has been. All right, let's get down to our desired altitude here. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. This part of the island is gorgeous. There's a beach over here called, or a beach town over here called St. Anne. Which is just magnificent. Bring the power back just a little bit here. Matter of fact, St. Anne is right there. Let's go take a look here real quick. I'll show you guys. Just a gorgeous little beach town. Give us a chance to get a feel for the airplane here. So the change that Just Flight made was in pitch, and I had some goofy landings yesterday. They weren't real good. And I generally attribute that to lack of competence on my part. But I'm heartened to know that it actually might have been the airplane rather than my lack of ability. So this little area is just gorgeous. There is, I'm going to show you a great little hotel if you ever come to this part of the world. It's called Danil. It's just a beautiful little beach town. And again, you really have to use rudder with this airplane, which is one of the things that I like about it. This is all just shallow, just crystal clear blue water. This is where my car got stolen, by the way. This area. Oh, yeah, that was a funny story, I'll tell you. We parked on the street here, my car got jacked. But right here is a hotel called Lenil, Lenil. This is all just stunningly beautiful water right here, but there's a hotel right there called Lenil. If you ever go to Guadeloupe, go to Lenil. It's just a fabulous place and tremendously nice people. Right here, and it's a beautiful view, and it's inexpensive. Absolutely lovely. They actually helped us get our car back after it was stolen. But that's a funny story. But anyway, so what happened was I parked it on the street, and there were clearly some local guys who had a little racket going, where it was easy to park in front of somebody's driveway, just the way things are. They're like these little walls along the sides of the roads, the streets. And I accidentally parked in somebody's driveway. I did park illegally, I'll freely admit that. But they came along, and it was a private company, so to speak, that towed the car. And it was just, you know, a couple of gangsters, basically. And tank, my left tank, and they towed it to literally a friggin' chicken yard, like a literal chicken yard, up a ruddy dirt road. And we went to the police because we didn't know what happened to the car. And the police told us that they didn't have any tickets issued in the area that day, so they were. You know, it wasn't them that did it, basically, is what they were telling us. And so we went back to the hotel, Lenil, which was where we had lunch. And the owners, lovely couple, made some phone calls and found out where the car was, and the wife took us to go get it. And it was a racket. Like, I had to go to the ATM in town and get cash because they would only take cash. And then when they gave it, so that we get in the car, we gave them the money to get in the car. And I always put, with a manual car, I always put it in gear when I park it. And they had, so the parking brake was set. Like, you know, the handbrake, you know, the pull handbrake was set, and it was set for it was in first gear, and they just towed it just like that, and absolutely destroyed the transmission. And the thing about Guadeloupe is they don't get a lot of American tourists, and they don't really speak English, that's fine. It's their country. It's not. I'm not being critical in that sense, but so I couldn't really explain, like, to the mechanic and the car rental agency what had happened. And I'd paid the insurance on the car, and so I was just like, here, sorry. And I feel bad for them, but like we were there for, I forget, we'd been there for like 10 days, or we were there for 10 days total, and I just didn't want to waste any time. I just wanted to get another car and just get back to vacationing, and so we did. But like I said, I felt pretty bad about it because they had a car of theirs destroyed by these clowns. And here's the airport. See, you really have to roll that rudder in. You really do. Well, first notch of flaps, runway 11. We'll go fuel pump on. Mixture is rich. See that? See the ball on the turn coordinator there? Really have to keep that ball centered. You have to work at it. Alright. There's 1-1 on the tail. Alright. Go second notch of flaps. And we'll start coming in here. Don't want to get much slower than this. Not
500.
We'll go full flaps. Power out here. There's a little bit of a dive here to make the runway. Be alright. Okay. Let's get ourselves on center line here. The one reason, I forgot to mention this in the earlier video I did, power's all the way out. There's two reasons I don't like oh, that felt nice right there. There's two reasons why I don't like full flap landings. Number one, well, actually, the main reason why I don't like full flap landings is that, and we'll lean the mixture for taxi, is that you have, on a go around, you've got, depending on the airplane, if you do them in Cessnas, I mean, when you add full power, you've got to drop a notch of flaps because you can literally just be, I'll bring this up here real quick. You can literally be sitting there like that, trying to keep the nose down with full power, like in a 150 or 172, which can be unpleasant. And this is a little freeware airport, by the way, and it's just fantastic. And we'll go check this out here real quick. So in the event of a go around, you can really have a serious pitch up because you've got a lot of nose up trim to begin with for the landing. Once we clear the runway here, we can bring the flaps up. Always clear the runway before you start messing around with your airplane. So I'm gonna leave the fuel pump on. I'm gonna leave one notch of flaps because we'll do a short field takeoff here. So that's the first reason why I don't, that's the main reason why I don't like full flap landings in light airplanes, is because you can have a struggle. If you have to go around, it's a lot more work. The other reason why I don't like it is because it's a much steeper pitch up. Most light airplanes, when you add flaps, it'll pitch the nose down, and so you've got quite a nose down attitude. And when you're coming in short final, and that can make it difficult to flare well. What's the next airport we're gonna head to here is TFFA. So it can make it difficult to flare well over here. And let's see here, we'll go direct to airports TFFA. We'll activate that. Heading a 35, well, no. Direct is 092, that makes sense. Okay, easterly. Alright, oh, speaking of makes sense. Let's see, transponder. Squawk altitude. Thank you, Mike. Nice job. Alright, so let's check here real quick. Trim is good. 1 notch of flap set. Fuel pumps on. We'll go mixture rich, and we'll check final. And I'm using the Bijan tree mod, by the way, and it is fabulous. It is so good. Seeing all these pine trees down here. They're pine trees, palm trees. Alright, so short field takeoff. This is part of your private pilot check ride, ladies and gentlemen. Short field takeoff. Get on center line. Alright. Heading indicator checks with the runway number. Let's check our altimeter. Check our heading indicator. Alright. So what you want is 1 notch of flaps. Toes on the brakes. Bring in full power. Holding those toe brakes. Power is set. Engine instruments in the green. Release the brakes, and we want to rotate at 55 knots. And I mentioned in the other video too that the nose wheel steering is too sensitive on the ground, and so you get off the ground, get the nose down, pick up a little airspeed, and then get climbing, baby. And that, I believe, was rather tight. And then once you've cleared your object, you push the nose down. Those trees were too high. I think that's a Flight Sim 24 issue. Then once you clear those trees, you pitch the nose down a little bit. You don't want to keep climbing at that really high angle for no reason. So set this to 092, and we are off, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me Guadeloupe isn't cool, huh? Tell me this isn't beautiful. So coming up on 1,000 feet. Let's do 1,500. Continue the climb here, but we will turn the fuel pump off. We'll check the fuel pressure. Fuel pressure is good. So based on that landing, gosh, the trim is the pitch, elevator pitch is much improved. And there's 50 feet below our cruise altitude. We'll start pulling the power back until we hear a change in engine sound. Then we'll pitch it over to level flight. Apply a nice big blotch of trim. That's going to be too much. And let's roll in a little bit of nose up. So let's see where we come out here. Don't adjust your power until you get your airplane level, because as you trim in pitch, your RPMs are going to change. So there's level. And I'll take 2400 RPM for this segment. That's fine. Also going to turn the fuel pump on. Why does it keep going over there, you suppose? Because I've now changed it twice to the left tank. I know I have. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. I know what it is. Auto fuel selector. No thanks. Don't want that. Thank you. But actually, that's one way to kind of combat the fact that it does. It is way too sensitive it's way too sensitive in roll trim for the fuel tank balance. So we got runway 09er, and it's gonna be, yeah, there we go. So this is one of my least favorite types of approaches. I'm gonna do, bring the power back. What do we got? 5 miles. 5 miles, 1,500 feet is perfect. You want to figure about 300 feet per nautical mile in a descent, right? So we're 5 miles away. You can see right here. We're over 1,500 feet, but 5 times 15, or 5 times 3 is 15. That works for me. You can see the runway right here. And we'll put in a notch of flaps, what we call approach flaps. And the first notch of flaps, call them approach flaps, and approach flaps just help stabilize the airplane. It just makes it add some drag, add some lift, makes it much more stable. And so I used to hate these types of approaches. When you do instrument training, you're always doing, maybe not always, but you're very, very often doing 5 mile straight in finals like this. And it's annoying because you're on instruments, so you've got what we call the hood, which blocks out everything from here, so you can't see. You can see a little bit out of the corner usually, but you can't really see out of the side of the airplane, or out of the front of the airplane rather. And I'm gonna go second notch of flaps because we're a little bit high. Pull some power out. So at about 3 miles, you should be at about 1,000 feet. And so you're just trying to center the needles on the way in, right, for the landing, or for the approach, be it an ILS approach, a GPS approach, whatever it might be. Fuel pumps on, 2 notches of flaps, mixture is rich, seat belts are secure, pre-landing checklist is complete. And so you've got all of this time to sit there holding those needles centered, and it's not easy. It's tough. It really is. And so you get to a point, at least I did, where I just don't like long straight in approaches because you have to be precise for a very long period of time, and it's challenging. See the speed.
500.
See the speed coming back here. 500 at 1.5 miles. That's perfect. 75 knots is very, very nice right here. A little bit more power out. I'll go full flaps here. Just want to hold that 70 knots right here. Don't mind dropping a little bit right now. I'm just going to let the nose come down. Get a little lower. Pull some power out. Alright, now we'll bring some power in just to hold this right here. I mean, this airplane is spectacular. They've done a wonderful job. Coming back to 65. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, boy, have they nailed this airplane. Boy, have they nailed this airplane. I mean, come on. It is so precise in pitch, power, and performance. It's just magnificent. One of the real challenges with flight sim is kind of fine-tuning feel on particularly on approaches and landing. It's so, I can't tell you how much easier it is to land a real airplane than it is to land a plane in the sim. It's way easier. I mean, in a lot of ways. But to be able to do what I just did, you know, controlling the pitch, controlling the airspeed, controlling the power, everything so precisely, and getting that nice flare, kicking out that crab, and the left wheel landing into the wind. It's I said it in the previous video. It is like this airplane is PMDG 777 performance wise in terms of controllability. The big thing about being able to fly well is predictability. You have to be able to expect the airplane to react the way you think it should for, you know, whatever sort of, you know, power and pitch inputs you put into it. It should be predictable. And this airplane, the 777, the PMDG 777, is super predictable. And so is this airplane. It's just fabulous. So there's toes on the brakes. Mixture to idle cutoff. Throttle is idle. Set the parking brake. We'll put the flaps up. Let's turn all the lights off. Avionics come off before the mags go off. Fuel pump is off. And master and battery switches coming off. Open that. Open that. And there we go. Just one last look here. Idle cutoff, idle. All the switches are off here. Lights are all off. Everything's good. It is an absolute pleasure to fly this airplane. It really is. That right there was probably the most enjoyable pair of landings I've ever done in a GA airplane in the sim, in any sim. Just so predictable. And yesterday it wasn't like this. So this is the updated version of the plane. This is version 0.4.1. So they updated the pitch in particular in the Warrior in this update. And yesterday, you'll see the video that I did yesterday on this airplane. It wasn't, my landings were not very good. Today, this felt like it should feel. It did everything that I would have expected it to do for the inputs that I made on the controls. Fabulous. I absolutely love this plane. Absolutely love it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll talk soon.